Okay, in this section, I think I'm going to give it a shot at changing this wall texturing here. That I'm not too overly thrilled about this repeating pattern. I like the overall tonal quality, the color contrast. It's just that you can't have a repeating pattern like that. It's just too obvious. So let's carry on and let's first talk about a few things that we need to consider at, as part of the ongoing process. This is something that you don't have to deal with right at the top, but um, as you can see, our objects are back face called. So if I select all the objects, you should turn this on. Back face call. If we turn that off, that gives us the backside faces. We can see both sides of it. Now, something I found out with shader effects is they are probably the most process hungry performance hogs over and above geometry. So if it comes down to a decision between doing a detail in textures and adding multiple stage shader effects, I would suggest going with the geometry over the texturing, because the number of draw calls can decrease the performance greater than actually adding more geometry, even if it's twice as much as, say, what we have on a given surface. So anyways, uh, make sure that your back face call is verified, because during creation, our faces could be to the outside, which is not good. We want them on the inside. If by chance, um, as normal habit, once you've more or less created your base, you want to validate and verify the normal directions as well as the true scale of your scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my select type to geometry, and I'm going to select all, Control A, and go over to the utility tab. That's this little hammer in the top corner. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to reset everything, reset selected. So this will force all my geometry to that 1 unit equals 1 inch scaling necessary for this map to behave properly once we get into the engine. Now, one of the side effects too as well of geometry that is not reset to its local scale as in reference to world scale is you could have some parts of the geometry disappear on you because it's too small. So if we created, say, a something that's the size of a button, and we rescale that to the size of a wall surface like this, and we do not reset the scaling, this wall could literally disappear on you because it's below the rendering threshold of the engine when it tries to call that information out. So you could be actually looking at it, but it's getting called out because the engine doesn't see it because it's hidden behind something else. So we could be on an angle like this, and we want to see this wall here, but because its local scale is smaller than the viewport, it may be over here somewhere behind this wall. The rendering engine is going to go, oh, I don't see that, and it won't render it. So you could have walls disappear on you. So make sure you reset your scaling for to be sure that 1 unit equals 1 inch. Okay, another thing here is, since I'm thinking about having this type of map where you could look at it from the top down like this, we do have backface calling to be concerned about. And as I mentioned, it's probably, instead of using a call shader effect, in general, I would suggest use as little shaders as possible, and instead opt for geometry and using advanced textures like the bump and normal maps that are going to be introduced at some juncture to a larger degree, and including a lot more other fancy types of texturing effects that we would like to include that is equal to what's available today in most high-end AAA games. So um, if we want to, we can add caps to these now, just to kind of, you know, not have to worry about it. Here's a little trick. We can select these objects here, and we can select what's called, um, where is it? Okay, edit poly. These are all now using the same unified single edit poly, but on single objects. So we can select these at this level, and we can just go ahead and cap those all off. I am not going to be too overly concerned about it at the moment. I'm just doing it this now, so it just makes editing a little bit more easier. It's a little bit more easier to see the map. We need to switch to the edge loop, I think. No. Oh, it doesn't give us cap for this. Okay, well, not so much for that idea. Okay. Um, okay, there's our cap. Hello. Okay, so we're going to have to select them one at a time. I usually used to be able to do that. Okay, cap those all off so we can just don't lose sense of our volume of space, when we're looking at it from this aspect, end of it and so forth. It's much easier not to get lost through the back facing, so to speak. And we can fix that up anytime we want, and not necessary. Okay, let's continue on, and we'll get this isolated out, so I can select isolated selection. This just basically isolates these selections. We could use hide if we want. That's a hide selection. That's an option. But I went out and I collected a bunch of textures here that are random in nature. Since I'm thinking about um, a couple of different things down the road here of how I'm going to, I want to, I want to be in a kind of a position where I can move forward, but at the same time, I'm not losing work, and I'm not moving backwards. So, if I want to, if I go Control S, I go Save As. I can bump up by hitting the plus down. So I'm working on Kill Room 01 now. I always have progressive design, so I can keep falling back if I have to. Okay, so let's using Thumbs Pro here. We can now start playing around with some of the different random nature textures that we have. I have a rather large one in here that I'm going to see if I can just get that to wrap around as much as possible. As you can see, it's tiled. That's not a good sign to begin with. Did I grab the right one? Yeah, it is the right one. So let's see what's going on here. We need to do our unwrap. Obviously, it's far tiled more than we really want it to. It's all squished up. Okay, let's play around with our scaling here. Yeah, okay, there's our issue. It's over tiling. We need to decrease the amount of tiling that effect that we want on that until we can get what we think is good coverage. Okay, why it does that, I don't know. It seems to want to spring back to its original position. So let's select a group here, unwrap, and we'll just sort of toss on these different textures here. See if we can get them to line up in some manner that fits with one another. There we go. Yeah, we're starting to repeat there a little too much. We want to bring that down even more. Hmm. Let's take a look at our texture here. We want to fit that in. Here's a freeform mode that just allows us to kind of scale everything relative to one another. And I think we got something here going nicely. Yeah, you know, that wraparound type of effect is, mm, I think I want that to be a little bit more. So the bulk of it is in this wall area. Okay, so we want to play around with that a little bit more. I use this tool here to kind of get things to look at least halfway correct. We don't really want to have this big. Here, I'll hyper extend that a little bit as an example. Right, that's, you know, a little too. It doesn't really fit, I guess, for lack of a better word. Okay, let's put that back to where that is or was. And let's play around a little bit more with that scaling. As I mentioned, I'm using very, very large textures. So when we get to the rendering this stuff off back to, oh yeah, okay, we got a really weird pattern going on there. Oh no, we're okay. Once we get to rendering this out to single images, let me let's get rid of this. I was messing around with some lighting. Oh right, geometry selection. Okay, like I say, mistakes are made on camera, will be repaired on camera. Okay, that's starting to give that woody kind of backboard feeling. You know, we're going to do some other additions and so forth to that. Okay, what about this side here? Okay, we'll convert that over to an editable poly. Okay. Now, a cool trick is, since we are now applying basically individual material IDs, every time we add a material to the surface here, does that take? Huh, weird. Okay. Oh, I know why we didn't switch the material type up. We're still using the same material throughout the entire texture here. So uh, to show that off, we need to kind of select the surface here, and this one here is a bit smaller. Oops, stop that. Okay, why are you doing that? Okay. Mm, huh, lost my override. Okay, let's go to uh, faceted. That's good enough. Okay, and what I'm going to do is set realistic mode. It gives us kind of a shading kind of effect to it. And we'll reselect our faces here. And we'll do an unwrap. I'm not going to be too overly concerned about maintaining any kind of logic connection between the different parts. I'm just going to keep changing things around until it starts to work itself out. As you can see, we have a rather large surface area there to cover. That's the big texture. This is the secondary texture that I've just added. It does get a little bit difficult to start reading how these things are starting to take shape. This is going to be a slow and methodical section. You know, I kind of like that little bit on the bottom there. I might go back and correct that other texture so it just catches the bottom. We have some detail on the top though we want to kind of exclude. I really like the edge here because at least if we get it close enough to it, there is a kind of a pattern to the plaster itself, which should help with preventing noticeable seams. Okay, F2. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to like that. What I don't like, once again, is how this kind of overlaps. It just, to me, it doesn't look natural. So I am going to fudge the mapping here a bit by selecting my edge tool here, and I'm going to slide that over a little bit. You know, we're looking for the balance between this and that. I'm kind of liking that offset. I like how things disconnect from one another. We have floor, we have this trim here, then we have this trim here, and then we have the wall. So it gives it a much more complex um, depth or design to it. A purpose of design. Yeah, okay, that's kind of interesting. I reselected the same wall again. So we'll select that over there. Oh, right, okay. Let's catch that. Oh, right, okay, convert that into an editable poly. I'm going to do my selection group here again. I'm going to select that. The more you start adding this stuff, the more you can kind of get lost. So, but I'll show you soon how we can start to isolate things a little bit better. Okay, that pattern I like. This one here, yeah, we still got it at the bottom there. So we'll constraint our selection here, and we'll pull that into the texture a little bit more. And hopefully we can, yeah, we kind of lost that connectivity between the two sides, between this and that side here. This one has a lot more than that one. Okay, well, we'll worry about that later. We keep moving. Let's isolate that. Okay, and we're going to see if we can make a few more selections here. Oops. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to see what I got here in the way of of. Okay, we want to resize that texture, that panel, to fit in our plane here. You can start to see we're starting to build up some textures here. This is a nice one. It doesn't have any end artifacts. Now that little splotch there in this corner here could be somewhat of a problem. Matching up. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay. Sorry about not chatting too much, but this does take a bit of focus. Um, hmm, that's a rather long section there, so maybe what I'll do is use I use the, oh, I wonder what this would look like on there. I don't know. Uh, I'm not really liking that at the moment. That's not it. That's not it. There we go. Let's see if we could do something to connect this up a bit. It's a concrete wall, but the whole idea, as I mentioned, is this is the design is a SWAT type kill slash um, Navy SEAL kill room, where they train. So, but it kind of fits in with the idea of something that was just put together with whatever materials happen to be handy. This is not a Better Homes and Garden apartment. So we'll probably put up some plywood wall objects to kind of disconnect it. That's a little bit reaching, though, I think. That's maybe a little too much. Um, we can always change things around later. Okay, let's see. I need something that's. I might just double up on this one here. It has the length that I need, and it's away from the other wall, so it's going to be difficult to really figure out. We're just choosing another copy. Okay, we need to get that edge, that line here, so we don't have that wraparound effect. So let's sort of just kind of pull that. Okay, just so you know, I by default have refresh turned on. So you got to go to preference, and under preference you got constant update and viewports. And my render width and render height is 250. Will always be set to a 256 by 256. You can increase this to get the resolution of your texture map up in your port here, but why bother considering you can see how it's coming along uh, in the viewport. Okay, the top part there is too much of a pushed up a little too much. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing well. We'll maybe turn this into a little bit more longer than normal uh, section. Okay, I really like that trimming on the bottom there. Um, Once we get it all paneled up, uh, I'll show you how we can correct that all the way around. So that line matches all up to everything, all our paneling work and so forth. Okay. Um, I need something with a little bit more distinctive flavor to it. So I'll convert this over to an poly. Um, okay, I'll do one more patch here, and I'm going to show you what is occurring while we're doing this in the background. Okay, I need something. Yeah, okay. Unwrap again. I'm pretty sure there's a much easier way of cycling through this on the go a little bit easier. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's okay. I'll live with that. But we want to make sure that that bottom piece is extended as low to the corner as possible. That will give us our edge that we want to cut across. so we can match up that small little detail in the bottom. I like that. That's a keeper. Okay. Um, I think we're at a point here where I'm going to show you what is occurring as we are layering on our materials, and that as we add materials, it adds new material types to it. And we should have a lot more different material types than what we have here. So by the looks of things, um, I lost some of the mapping on some of the surface here, so we're going to have to go back. Yeah, see here? Yeah, this surface here, its ID got changed to from what it was supposed to be. So um, let's just throw something up on there as random. Yeah, okay, the mapping's still the same, so it's still good. So we'll go to this guy here because I think that we did this guy already, and I'm going to grab another texture, see if we can correct that. Whoa, that's not what I had in mind. Okay, let's throw something else on there. Okay, yeah, okay, that's getting to where what I'm after. As I mentioned, the idea here is to get this as trashy as possible. I want, like for this wall here, for example, uh, I'm going to put some plywood, maybe put in a boarded up window or something like that. We're just after right now is to kind of get all that, get a randomness into it overall. So we're not having that picket fence kind of idea. Like that looks pretty bad. Okay, so let's go over here, select this. Okay, select this, and see if we can find a material we can just kind of throw on there willy-nilly. So you're constantly turning and looking. Um, we can use some tools. This section here got kind of pulled back again for some reason. Weird things happen sometimes. Open editor. Okay, and we're going to select this edge here. Constraint move tool. I don't want that wrap around like that. It looks out of place. So I would rather distort it slightly and pull it back than have that wraparound effect. Okay. And we don't have to do complete panelings. Um, so just so you know what I'm doing here, I'm working from this section, this batch of plaster, damaged plasters that I found over at CG Texture. So I'm kind of mixing things in here, half randomly, and hopes that I can kind of hit on something that just kind of works. You know, blend it up a bit. Mix and match, drag and drop. Okay, and just kind of looking and seeing how this stuff is affecting the overall randomness. Okay, that's not looking good at all. And this is oversized, maybe too much. I wonder if I make that large. Okay, I'll leave that like that. Okay, here's another big section. I have this guy here, which is like 3 or 4 um, textures stitched together. So that's pretty good to cover a big span like that. And you'll never notice it as being a repeating pattern. Oops, come on, where are you? You, on there. Okay, it's deciding it does not want to play nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what the ID of this one is. Its set ID is 1. You can use the polymaterial ID to select the surfaces that have unique materials assigned to it. So for example, if I want whatever has material ID 2 onto it, if I select it like that, then it'll select that. What I can do though is I can select this and tell it to use 1, which is for some reason or another, it's not set ID. Okay, set, let's do this again. Set ID 1. Okay, now that should, it's not correcting. Okay, unwrap, open an editor. Where are you? There you are. It's not playing nice. It's broken. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now we go to find our paneling. Found it right off the bat. I'm going to use the freeform mode here to scale that into that area there. And you into there. Okay. The nice thing about UV mapping by hand like this is if you have any errors in the mesh itself, as in say for example something that doesn't has an edge or a vertex that shouldn't really be there, it shows up in this process pretty darn quick. Okay, that here is a bit stretchy. It's stretchy, if that's even a word. Stretchiest. Okay, so let's select the face here. Let's see if we can paint some damage onto it. I actually have, seem to have copies. I don't have as many as I thought I should have. I wonder if we could put a plaster damage in there. No. No good. That didn't work out too well. Um, you know, I have doubles, so I don't really have that much in the way of randomness that I thought I did. But you can slide. You can slide your mapping around a bit to find some kind of unique randomness as you go along. Okay. Yeah, we're in over a half an hour. And maybe what I will do, I'm pretty sure most of you got the idea of what's going on here. So I more or less have half this done. So um, I got junk on the top there that I didn't get out. And we're clipping off the detail here, so it's going to look like it's just slammed into the corner. You know, let's see what kind of where is that? Yeah, you know, I think I'm gonna leave that corner like it is. And this panel on here, though, kind of looks abrupt. So I'm going to see if I can squeeze that out a bit more. so that the corner edging matches up a little easier. That's a little better. This looks a little too looks a bit too stretched still. Mm-hmm. Okay. You down. Okay. That tool here. Yeah, we need not that much. Let's see if we can find. There we are. We're getting there. We are getting into. It takes a practice eye. Okay, we're obviously getting into material that we don't want to have involved. Okay, yeah, I'm going to save you guys maybe. Well, actually, I'm going to call this one done. Um, I'm going to continue on in the next section, and we might as well make this as complete as possible. So, just as a forewarning, I'm pretty sure by now you've kind of picked up on the general ideas of what's going on here. Um, but I think to start off the next section there, what I'm going to do, just so you're interested, is I'm going to section off this bottom trim piece here that I want to have continued all the way around, and I want it to be equal, so I don't have this kind of thing going on here where you have a really nice thickish trim piece, and then you have this little wimpy piece here. So I want to correct that as being a problem. Also, I seem to have a well, I'm not going to worry about that. And then of course I'll kind of bring you up to date of where I'm going with this. Once things are kind of an update, because as we move along, as I say, the ideas of what we're going to be doing will change due to process. This is not a plan. I'm not planning this out, so you're getting this stuff as I'm making it up, kind of idea. Okay, which give you a better idea of the problems you will have to deal with, rather than doing the perfect video.